everyone. Today we are going to start the chapter from the Diary of Annie Frank, and which is written by Annie Frank herself only. And let's find out who is Annie Frank and where was she born and what happened to her and what is this story about. Let's find out about all these things. Anneliese Mary Annie Frank, born on 12 June 1929, February, and died in March 1945, was a German born Jewish girl. She was a Jewish girl. What is Jewish? Jewish is actually a kind of religion. Like in India, we are having religions of Sikhism, Buddhism, Hinduism, and Muslims. So all these are religions of India. Like that, only in Germany, two most popular religions were there. That were one was Jewish and the other was Nazis. And you must have heard about Hitler, the dictator of Germany. You must have studied about him in the class 9 history about the rise of Hitler and Nazism, the rise of Hitler. Perhaps this was the chapter. So actually, during his regime only, she was there. She lived, and during his regime only, what happened? The Nazi people of Germany, they were actually torturing the Jewish people because of what? Because of the Nazi ideology and the fascist ideology of uh, this person, Hitler, because he did not like Jewish people. He believed that only the Aryans or only the Nazis had the right to live in Germany and no other people had the right to live in Germany. Since she was a Jewish girl, and that's how she also had to face all those deadly challenges that Hitler has thrown to the people. She was a Jewish girl who wrote while in hiding. So when Nazi people were actually torturing the Jewish people at that time, she was in hiding with her whole family and four friends in Amsterdam. They were hiding in Amsterdam. Amsterdam is a city of Netherlands. Netherlands is a country of Europe, a very beautiful country, and nowadays very much popular of its cycling because most of the people of Netherlands do not use the modern vehicles, instead they use cycle, and that's very beautiful about it. During the German occupation of the Netherlands in World War II, her family had moved to Amsterdam after Nazis gained power. So when World War II was going on and the tyranny of Hitler was going on in Germany against the Jewish people, during that time only her family and she actually moved to Amsterdam after the Nazis gained power in Germany, but were trapped when Nazi occupation extended into Netherlands. As but actually soon when they had ran away from that place to hide themselves, to save themselves, but soon what happened? The Nazis had captured Netherlands also, and that's how their life became hell over there also. They could not live a happy life. They could not live a good life in Amsterdam too because Nazis were there too. After the Nazis gained power in Germany, but were trapped when the Nazi occupation extended into Netherlands. As persecutions against the Jewish population increased, the family went into hiding in July 1942. And what happened? They were actually wherever they were finding a Jewish family, they were prosecuting them. They were giving them punishment. They were sending them into concentration camps, and that's how they all went into hiding. They all hid themselves because of what? So that Germans could not find them, so that Nazis could not find them. In 1942, they went into hidden rooms in her father Otto Frank's office building. They were hiding in her father's Otto Frank's office building. Actually, it was office building only, and they were hiding there only. After 2 years in hiding, they had to hide for 2 years. The group was betrayed and transported to the concentration camp. One day, they were found out in that office building. The Nazis have found them, and that's how they were actually captured and they were sent into concentration camps. What is concentration camp? Actually, it is a kind of camp where unwanted people are left without food, without cloth, and without any economic activity. So simply you can say they are left to die over there. So where Annie died of typhus in Bergen Belsen within days of her sister. Margot Frank, her father Otto, the only survivor of the group, returned to Amsterdam after the war ended. And as soon as they were transported to this concentration camp. Over there, Annie died due to typhoid, and within the few days, her sister also had died. Actually, very first her sister died, then after that she also died. The only survivor of her family was her father, Mr. Margot Frank. He survived, and when the Nazis' tyranny was over, then he returned to Amsterdam, and after the war ended, to find out her diary had been saved. And when he returned to Amsterdam, he only found out that his daughter was not no more, but he found her diary. He found that she has written something, and that was still there. Convinced that it was a unique record, he took action to have it published in English under the name The Diary of Young Girl. And when he actually read the diary, he felt like it was a unique record, and it was something that will tell the whole world that what happened during the Nazis regime, and how actually a very uh, tender girl, she had actually met her fate due to the Nazis. And that's how he actually decided to get it published in English under the name of Diary of a Young Girl. That's how you're reading the story, because it was published by her father. She did not publish it, it was published by her father. Later on, let's find out what happens in the story. The diary was given to Annie Frank for her 13th birthday. And how did she get that diary? Actually, when she started this, how did she start to write this diary? The diary was given to Annie Frank for her 13th birthday. It was her 13th birthday, and on that day only, uh, the diary was given to her. And chronicles of the events of her life from 12 June 1942 until its final entry of 1st August 1944. And you can find in this diary the details from 12 June 1942 to 1st August 1944. It was eventually translated from its original Dutch into many languages and became one of the world's most widely read books. And later on, when it was published, it was originally written in Dutch language, but later on it was translated into several languages, including English also, and it became one of the most read books worldwide. There have also been several films, television, and theatrical productions. Even this story was made turned into several movies, several television series, several theatrical productions, and even an opera based on the diary, described as the work of a mature and insightful mind. And most of the literary critics, they tell that it was not a work of a very young child. Instead, it seems like it is a work of very mature writer, because the way she has represented things was indeed beautiful, indeed very beautiful. The diary provides an intimate examination of daily life under Nazi occupation. From this diary, one could find out that what was really happening during the Nazis' rule in the around in and around the World War II, and during the rule of Hitler. Annie Frank has become one of the most renowned and discussed of the Holocaust victims. What is Holocaust victim? Actually, the kind of situation where you can see that somebody is facing a challenge due to some political situation, and uh, that due to that political situation one has to die, so that person would be called what? Holocaust victim. So she was actually a Holocaust victim, and she unfortunately died also. So now let us have a little bit of activity. Do you keep a diary? Given below under are some terms we use to describe a written record of personal experience. Can you match them with the descriptions under B? You may look up the terms in the dictionary for you if you wish. So, like there are so many ways of writing. The one of the ways is diary writing also. So you must be aware of all. Have you ever actually known what is a journal, what is a diary? Diary, now you know that Somebody when actually writes his or her own daily record, then that is known as a diary. But what is a journal then, and what is a log then? What is a memoir then? So let's start with memoir. Memoir is what? It is actually a record of person's, mm, you can say, own life and experiences, usually a famous person. Like suppose Amitabh Bachchan writes something about his childhood, then that would be called what? A memoir. What is a log? So log is what? Log is actually it is used for official purpose. Mostly this log is used for what? Official purpose. So it is you can a kind of written record of events with times and dates, usually official. And what is a diary? You can write a full record of a journey, a period of time, or an event written every day. Diary is what? Something like this: a full record of journey, a period of time, or an event every day. When you write something, a kind of record every day, so that kind personal record, you can say, so that is known as what? Diary. Memory is what? Record of a person's own life and experiences, usually a very famous person. And diary, journal is what? A book with a separate space for page of each day, in which you write down your thoughts and feelings, or what has happened on that day. So this is something, a kind of thing uh, that we actually come across. Actually these are all what? Writing forms. Now here is a question, and what you are going to do, you are just going to read this question and you are going to just answer it. So uh, I'll share the PDF of this, you can read it in that PDF. Now let's start the this thing. Writing in a diary is really a strange experience for someone like me. So when she any when she starts writing her diary, she says that writing a diary is very strange experience. For someone, even instead actually, in fact, for someone like me, who is very young, who had no experience of writing a diary, who had never seen the whole world, who doesn't even know how to who is not even good at reading and writing, who is not very much learned also. So for someone like me, writing a diary is very really strange experience. Not only because I have never written anything before, but also because it seems to me that later on, neither I nor anyone else will be interested in the musings of the 13-year-old schoolgirl. And she says, like, she has a very good point to say that why actually writing a diary is very strange experience for her, because she feels like when she had written everything, then perhaps nobody will be interested in her diary, nobody will feel like reading it, nobody will feel like uh, oh, what a 13-year girl has written, nobody will actually read it. So definitely it's very strange experience for me. I'm writing it just for myself only, because nobody is going to read it. Oh well, it doesn't matter. Then she says, it's okay, it doesn't matter whether somebody reads it or not. I feel like writing, and I have an even greater need to get all kinds of things off my chest. And she says that I just want to write because I feel like writing. Every day I have a great urge to write, and that's how I am going to write. Nobody is going to stop me. And even the thing is that I have an even greater need to get all the kinds of things off my chest. And why do I need to write? There is one more reason for that, and that is, there is so much in my heart I want to say it to somebody, but there is nobody to whom I could tell it all. I just cannot trust anybody else to whom I could tell all my secrets. But perhaps that is why I just need to write it over here. I need to write my diary. Paper has more patience than people. And she says, why actually she has learned a very famous quote, and from that quote only she says paper has more patience than people. She says, when you put something on paper, it becomes very quiet, it doesn't spread very fast. And if you say it to somebody else, perhaps it will spread to the whole world within no time. So that's why she says paper has more patience than people. I thought of this, yes, saying on one of those days when I was feeling a little depressed and was sitting at home with my chin in my hands. And she says that I just actually pondered upon this thought, one day when I was sitting in my uh, sitting at home with my chin in my hands, bored and listless. I was feeling very bored, wondering whether to stay in or go out. I was just thinking whether I should stay in the room only or else I should go out. I finally stayed where I was brooding, and finally I decided to stay over there only where I was just thinking a lot. Yes, paper does have more patience. And then she concludes, yes, it's really true that paper has more patience than people, because whenever you put something on paper, it becomes very quiet, and it is up to you that where it reaches and where it goes. But when you say something to people, you cannot just trust them, because you never know how fast they are going to spread the things. So she actually is very much sure that when you write something on paper, it's going to be secret and it's not going to spread to the whole world. And that's why she want to write the diary. I'm not planning to let anyone else read this stuff bagged notebook, grandly referred to as a diary. She has one more point. She says that why I'm going to write whatever I will write in this diary, I'm not going to let anyone read this stiff bagged. Stiff bag means hard bagged, something which is covered with a hard material. So that is known as stiff bagged. I'm not going to let anyone read this notebook, grandly referred to as a diary. Grandly, which is actually known as a diary, unless I should ever find a real friend. Yes, maybe someday I would allow somebody to read this diary, but unless I find a real friend, somebody who could on whom I could believe, on whom I could feel like that this person is never going to share my secrets with anybody else. This person is not going to make a fun of me. It probably won't make a bit of difference. Anyway, it's not going to make a large difference whether somebody finds out this diary, whether somebody reads this diary or not, because this is not going to make a great difference. I'm just simply talking about all these things, and now I'm back to the point that prompted me to keep a diary in the first place. But again, I want to tell you what was the thing that actually prompted me, that actually made me eager. Prompted me means what? Made me eager to keep a diary in the first place. I don't have a friend, and that point is what? I don't have actually a friend in this whole world. I'm not having a friend, and that is why I just want to write a diary. This was the point that she actually now gives. Now let's find out. Let me put it more clearly, since no one will believe that a 13-year-old girl is completely alone in this world. And now she starts saying that, let me make it very clear, dear all of you, whoever is reading to this diary, that nobody will believe in this world that a 13-year-old girl is actually completely alone in this world. Nobody is there around her. Actually, physically, there are so many people around me, but I emotionally I feel like that I am totally alone in this world, and I am not. And let me tell you, I'm actually not alone. But it feels like to me that I am alone in this world. I have loving parents. I have a 16-year-old sister, and there are about 30 people I can call friends. I have a family, loving aunts, and good home. No, on the surface, I seem to have everything except my one true friends. She says that actually, if you go physically, and you'll feel like I have everything. I have a loving sister, and I have a loving parent. There are more than 30 people to whom I could call actually a friend, but still I lack something. That is what I lack: a true friend. I do not have a true friend, and perhaps that is why I feel that I am alone in this world. All I think about when I am with friends is having a good time. And whenever actually I am with my friends, those 30 friends to whom all I call my friends, whenever I am with them, I feel like having fun. I feel like just having fun. I don't feel like doing anything else. Instead, having fun only. And that's how we don't seem to be able to get any closer, and due to that only we are not actually very much close to each other. And that's the problem. And see, that is the problem. maybe it's my fault that we don't confide in each other, and maybe it may be this thing also, that it is my fault only that I have a lot of friends, I go and have fun with them, but still I do not confide with them, I do not believe on them, and that's why maybe actually I'm not telling them everything, and perhaps that is why I feel like I do not have a true friend. In any case, that's just how things are, and unfortunately they are not liable to change. And anyway, this is the thing with me. You can see this is all is happening with me, and even I feel like it's not going to change, it's going to remain very much same only. This is why I have started the diary, and perhaps that is the reason I have started the diary, because I can trust this one. I can feel like it is a true friend, and it is not going to reveal my secrets to anybody. To enhance the image of this long awaited friend in my imagination, I don't want to jot down the facts in this diary the way most people would do. And one more thing, I'm not going to write with a lot of fact about myself in this diary, just to enhance this imagination of actually awaited friend. But instead, I'm not going to write it the way the most people do, but I want the diary to be my friend, and I'm going to call this friend a kitty. I'm just not going to simply write a diary, but actually I'm going to treat this diary as my friend, and that's why I'm going to name this diary as Kitty. So that's how she has actually named her diary also. She had given her diary a name, and the name was what? Actually, Kitty. Let's find out what she says to her kitty. Since no one would understand a word of my stories to Kitty if I were to plunge right in, I would better provide a brief sketch of my life, much as I dislike doing so. Anyways, he says that actually, no, if I directly start telling my own story, then perhaps nobody, if someday somebody finds this diary and starts reading it, perhaps they will not find out what is going on and what this story is about, who this person is. So let me tell you a little about my life. Let me tell you about my parents. Let me tell you about my origin. So that's how people could actually make a proper idea that who I am. So that's why I'm going to provide my bio sketch, brief sketch. My father, the most adorable father I have ever seen. See, there is my father, and he's the most adorable father. Of adorable means what? Loving. He is the most adorable father I have ever seen in this whole world. Didn't marry my mother until he was 36. He was actually not married until until he became 36 years of age, and she was 25. And at that time when they both got married, at that time my mother was 25 and he was 36. My sister Margaret was born in Frankfurt in Germany in 1926. And if I talk about my sister, she was born in Germany, Frankfurt in 1926. I was born on 12 June 1929. I born on actually 19 in, on 12 June 1929. I lived in Frankfurt until I was 4, and after that I lived in Frankfurt till I became 4 years old. My father emigrated to Holland. What is this meaning of emigrated? Emigrated means leave one's country and go to another country. So my father emigrated to Holland in 1933. My mother Edith Hollander Frank went with him to Holland in September, and after that, after few months, my mother also actually migrated with him. Her name is what? Edith Hollander Frank. While Margot and I were sent to Essen to stay with our grandmother, and after that we were sent to Essen. Essen is actually a place in Germany where their grandmother lives. Margot went to Holland in December, and after that, Margot also went to Holland. Very first, my father went to Holland. Then after that, my mother went to Holland. Then after that, Margot, my sister, also went to Holland. Now it was my turn only. I was still with my grandmother, and I followed in February, and I went to Holland in February when I was plunked down on the table as a birthday present for Margaret. Actually, I was just sent to Holland as a kind of birthday present. It was the birthday of Margaret, and that day only I reached to Holland. So I was the birthday present for Margaret. I started right away at the Montessori nursery school, and as soon as I reached Holland, I started right away going to nursery school. I stayed there until I was 6. I studied there until I was 6. At which time teacher was Mrs. Cooperus, and at that time, I remember my teacher. She was Mrs. Cooperus, the headmistress. At the end of the year, we were both in tears as we said a heartbreaking farewell. And after spending a whole year only, 1 year only, I had to say goodbye to that school. And since I loved so much to Mrs. Cooperus, so I had to say a heartbreaking goodbye to her. And that's how it was a kind of very first feeling or very first experience for me of leaving somebody. In the summer of 1941, grandma fell ill and had to have an operation. And in that summer only, 1941, my grandmother fell ill and she had to have an operation. So my birthday passed with little celebration. That year, my birthday was not actually celebrated. It was a very small celebration in the house. Grandma died in January 1942, and my grandmother died in 1942. No one knows how often I think of her and still love her. And see how much I love her that nobody knows. Actually, I only know, and I'm just going to tell this to my diary. This birthday celebration in 1942 was intended to make up for the other. And in 1942, when my birthday was celebrated, it was a little grand uh, in manner, because it was a kind of like a makeup for the other birthday that I did not celebrate, and grandma's candle was lit along with the rest. And my with my candles, my grandma's candle was also lit, because I just missed them missed her a lot. The four of us are still doing well, and that brings me to this present date of 20 June 1942. And four of us means what? She, her sister, and her parents. They all are very happy, and that's how she has now come to the date 20 June 1942 and the solemn dedication of my diary. And now I'm going to write everything and I'm going to dedicate everything to this diary only. Now she starts writing about it. Dearest Kitty, our entire class is quaking in its boot. On Saturday, 20th June 1942, she writes that, Dearest Kitty, today's situation was like, oh my god, the entire class was quaking. Quaking means what is what? Making noise in its boot. The reason, of course, is forthcoming meeting in which the teachers decide who will move up to the next form and who will be kept back. And the reason of this noise was actually what? Because the very soon we were going to have a meeting with the teachers, in which the teachers were going to tell us that who is going to be passed, who is going to actually who is going in the next class, and who is not. Half the class is making bets, and now I can see most of the students in my class are busy in making bets. ए भाई तू जाएगा, तू अगली क्लास में जाएगा, you are going in the next class, I am not going. Everybody is sure about others but not sure about themselves. That was the scene of the class. Gian and I laugh ourselves silly at the two boys behind us, Cian and Chekas. Gian, perhaps somebody is actually Gian is her friend. She says that Gian and I was laughing so much because behind us there were two boys, Cian and Jacques, who have staked their entire holiday savings on their bet, because they had made a bet on whatever they had saved for the entire holiday. And the bet was what? That they both were sure that uh, they were not going to pass, but the other was going to pass. So they were telling, you are going to pass and I am not. Yes, you are, I am not. Even G is pleading glances, and my angry outburst can't calm them down. Even after seeing the situation, there was another person, G, and who became very angry. Even I also like uh, busted on them. I also shouted on them, what are you doing? You are making so much noise. But actually, that could not calm them down. If you ask me, there are so many dummies that about a quarter of the class should be kept back. But if you ask my opinion, I am going to tell you there are so many dummies in this class. Dummies means what? Fool people. there are so many dummies in this class that about a quarter of the class, about a quarter means what, 25% of the people of the class should be kept back. They must not be moved to the next class. But teachers are the most unpredictable creatures on the earth. So she says now that, but you cannot believe the teachers because you don't know what are they going to do next. And that's how it's my personal opinion, the opinion that 25% of the students must be kept back into the class, into the same class. But you cannot believe on the teachers. What are they going to do? Maybe they would pass everybody, or maybe they would keep 50% of the class back into the same class. I'm not so worried about my girlfriends and myself, but she says it's okay. I'm not worried about myself that I'm going to pass. I'm very sure about it, and even my friends also, my girlfriends also are going to pass. Say we are very sure we'll make it. We'll make it to the next class. The only subject I'm not sure about is maths. But there is one problem with me. That is what the problem is with mathematics. I'm not sure, but whether I will pass in that subject or not. Anyway, all we can do is wait. Anyway, it's okay. All we can do is what? Let's wait for it and let's find out whether what happens. God knows. Until then, we keep telling each other not to lose our heart. Until then, what happens? We keep on telling, "अरे अरे, don't worry, यार, don't worry, don't worry, अरे, pass हो जाओगी, pass हो जाओगी, तुम भी pass हो जाओगी." So this is the way we actually keep on telling to each other. I get along pretty well with all my teachers, but if I talk about my connection with all my teachers, it's very good. There are nine of them. There are nine teachers, seven men and two women. Seven are men and two are women. Mr. Keesing, the old foggy who teaches maths. And let me tell you about somebody, Mr. Keesing, who is actually our maths teacher, who teaches was annoyed with me for ages because I talked so much. Mr. Keesing was very much annoyed today with me because of what? Because I talked so much. After several warnings, even he had given me several warnings. He had assigned me extra homework also for as a punishment. An essay on the subject, a chatterbox. Being a mathematics teacher, he had given me a homework of writing an essay on the topic a chatterbox, just to show me that I am talking so much. What can you write about that? I would worry about that later, I decided. So when he actually gave me that homework, I felt like, what can I write about that? But I just felt like it's okay. There is nothing to worry about it right now. Since it is homework, so I have to worry about it at the home. So I am not going to worry about it right now. I jotted down the title in my notebook. I just simply wrote it down in my copy. Jotted down means what? I wrote it down, tucked in my bag, and tried to keep quiet. And just tried to keep quiet for a moment because I could see Mr. Kissing was angry. That evening, after I had finished the rest of my homework, the note about the essay caught my eye. And that evening, when I was doing my homework at my house, and suddenly the note I could actually that note of homework, a chatterbox that was given by Mr. Keesing, that came in front of me. The note, I began thinking about the subject while chewing the tip of my fountain pen. I decided to think about it. What can I write about this? A chatterbox. And I was eating the tip of my fountain pen. Anyone could ramble on and leave big spaces between the words. And I was just thinking like I could just ramble on means talk anything aimlessly. I ramble on means what? Just talk anything, talk rubbish, talk aimlessly. There is no point of talking about a subject. So she was thinking like I could ramble on anything on the paper, and I could give it as a homework. But since it was given to me, and I have to show my brilliance also, and I have to come up with a very good reason that why am I talking. So I have to be a very bring up with a very convincing idea. So that's how I have to think about it, what I should write. But the trick was to come up with the very convincing argument. Actually, it was there in my mind that I want to give a very convincing reason that why am I talking, prove the necessity of talking. Even I wanted to prove it that why is it necessary for me to talk. I thought and I suddenly had an idea. I thought a lot, and then suddenly I had a very good idea in my mind. And what was that? I wrote the three pages Mr. Kissing had assigned me and was satisfied. And I wrote as Mr. Kissing had told me to write pages on it. I wrote three pages and I was very much satisfied now. I agreed that talking is a student's trait, and in those three pages, I had put my argument that talking is a student's trait. It's a habit of a student. How can you how can a student avoid his habit of talking? That I would do my best to keep it under control. But anyway, it's even if it's my habit, but still I would try to keep it under control, as for the sake of Mr. Keesing, because he is annoyed with my talkings. But that I would never be able to cure myself of the habit, since my mother talked as much as I did, if not more. But she says, she has a very good point. She says that maybe I must avoid talking in the class, but I cannot totally cure myself from this habit, because my mother is talks so much. She is also like me, and perhaps if actually my mother talks as much as I did, if not more. Actually, my mother also talked this much only, if not more. She also talked this much only, and that's there. Not so much you can do about inherited trait, and that's how actually it's a kind of inherited trait. It's a kind of inherited property that I have got from my parents, from my mother, and I cannot do anything about it, because we cannot change an inherited trait. Mr. Kissing had a good laugh at my arguments. When Mr. Kissing actually saw my arguments, he had a very good laugh. But when I proceeded to talk my way through the next lesson, he assigned me a second essay. But actually, when I actually started again talking in his next class, he gave me another essay. This time it was supposed to be on an incorrigible chatterbox, and this time the topic was what? Incorrigible chatterbox. So this time I had got another essay. I handed it in, and Mr. Kissing had nothing to complain about for two whole lessons. I wrote an essay on that also, and I handed it to him. And then Mr. Kissing had nothing to complain about for two whole lessons, and for two whole lessons I did not talk anything. I can imagine such type of people in my class too. I have, like, there was Mitali in class 10, last year class 10. She continually though she is very laborious child, she is very actually good girl, but still she had a habit of talking like any only. She used to talk a lot. So there are students in every class like her, that who will continuously keep on talking. Any Frank, during the third lesson, he had finally had enough, and then in the third lesson, he again caught me, and he had again given me an assignment. Any Frank, as a punishment for talking in the class, write an essay entitled "Quack Quack Quack," said Mister Chatterbox. And now this time, Any Frank, you are going to write an essay on the topic "Quack Quack Quack," said Mister Chatterbox. This is your topic, and as a punishment, you are going to write an essay once again. So that's how she got another homework. The class roared. I had to laugh too, and on hearing this, the whole class was laughing. That every time, whenever I am making a noise, whenever I am caught, I am given a homeworks. That's a very good thing. So the class roared on it. The roared means what? Laughed, and I had to laugh too. Though I had nearly exhausted my ingenuity to the topic of chatterboxes. Actually, now what was the situation? Now I had nothing genuine to write about these chatterboxes, because I was totally exhausted writing about this particular topic. But still, since the homework was given to me, I had to do it. It was too time to come up with something else. So this time I decided to come up with a very new idea, so that the genuinity could not be lost. It should again look like a genuine thing, something very much original. My friend Sane, who's good at poetry, offered to help me write the essay from beginning to end in verse, and I jumped for joy. And there is this friend of mine. So her name is Shane, and actually she's very good at poetry. So she told me that she is going to help me in writing this essay in a kind of verse, in a kind of poetic form, and that will be a very good idea. So I jumped with the joy. Mr. Kissing was trying to play a joke on me with the ridiculous subject, but I would make sure the joke was on him. Though actually, every time Mr. Kissing is trying to play a joke on me by giving me a ridiculous subject to write on, but this time I am going to play a joke on him. I finished my poem and it was beautiful. It was about a mother duck and a father swan with three baby ducklings who were bitten to death by the father because they quacked too much. I wrote this poem in a way that it says like there was a mother duck and there was a father swan and they had three baby ducklings and who were beaten to death by the father because they quacked so much. All those actually ducklings, they were bitten to death by her father by their father because they talked so much, they made a lot of noise, and that is why their father bid them to die. But Mr. Kissing took the joke the right way, and when Mr. Kissing actually read that verse, he took it right way because he had also realized that we have the habit of quaking, we have the habit of talking, and you just cannot simply make us die and stop us talking. He read the poem, and now he read the poem to the class, adding his own comments. He read the poem to the class also. He added his own comments to several other classes as well. Since then I have been allowed to talk and haven't been assigned any extra homeworks, and since then he had never assigned me any extra homework. And on the contrary, Mr. Casing's always making jokes these days, and nowadays he is always making jokes. So this is the story about Anne Frank. So dear students, after this you are going to do the questions of this chapter. Let's discuss the questions also in this only. Okay, I'll discuss in the another video. Fine. So thank you everyone.